Well, hello, everyone. Look who's back. David
Hey everyone,
Johnson.
how are you?
Moonride.
Great to see you guys.
Good to see you. Yeah, we have a different look into your home today. You said that there was like construction. You had
Yes,
to find a quiet spot in your home, which is almost
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. I was just mentioning to Sheila how it's the first time like I love doing videos in my living room, and but I haven't been able to. There's one or two drawbacks about Australia, and one of them is constant construction. This is a growing society. They're like need more people in their society, more buildings, all that stuff. So there's always construction going on, and they're not very polite. Australian worker tradie guys are pretty much, I'm playing my stereo in your backyard, and if you don't like it, you can just jump up a bridge. So it's definitely very like, there's some drawbacks to an egalitarian society, and that is that in Australia, there's one thing. You go to a restaurant, they'll bring the food out to one person, and the other 12 people will just sit there and watch you. They just don't
That's
care. They just don't care. They're just like, just eat in front of them. Just don't care. So, it's much
wow.
more like they just don't care about those kinds of things. They don't really care. And I talk to people about, hey, could you just tell them to be quiet? And people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you're gonna tell them to be quiet? Like, they're working. They can play their stuff. I'm like, I don't get to play my radio when I'm working, but it's not the end of the world. It's just I can't use my living room for my videos anymore because they're always there.
Yeah, isn't that funny how there's always different pleasantries in different states or different
Yeah,
countries and stuff like that?
yeah,
The difference, like what is that one country where smacking your lips is called complimentary, and in
yeah,
America it's called
yeah,
rude. Don't do that. We don't like
yeah.
that's the contrast of everything,
And it's
isn't it?
always the same thing. What you love about it and hate about it. I love
Yeah,
the fact that they're much more egalitarian. No one would ever be rude to a waiter or waitress. They would never do that. That would just it's like your friend. It's like you're going to a restaurant, you're going to your friend's house. So nobody would ever do that. And but at the same time, it does mean the service can be quite poor. Not the
gotcha.
worst, but anything about any culture, it's like there are definitely bad things about capitalism, but it's easier to become a doctor in America than Germany.
Ah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
one example.
All right, and so we were talking offline about COVID. So what is going on about COVID in Australia?
Yeah, well, I'll just mention I did one video with somebody, and in my backyard, I was able to use it that one day, and it was a Saturday. And the person pointed out, "Hey, you guys are talking without masks, man. I'm really concerned." And somebody wrote back, they don't really have COVID here. And when I say that, there was just a few isolated cases in my city. Adelaide's the third biggest city, so it's not as bad as Sydney or Melbourne. But even when they had a few cases in Melbourne, Lena will tell you, they shut the whole city down. I mean, like, you don't go out, all food is delivered, and they shut it down for like 5 cases. Maybe they were 25 cases at some point, and they literally shut the city down. So there were these very immediate shutdowns, contact tracing. Everywhere you go right now, the only thing that you have to do is you have to have you take out your cell phone, and there's like, I don't know, what are those little boxes things, when you go up and you put your phone to those kind of
I
information
know what
boxes.
you're talking about. The little that has a little black square.
Yeah,
Yep, I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
When you go out, you do that. Even when I go swimming, I have to do that. All those things, they really are very, very serious about contact tracing. And everybody wore a mask. There was just no question that you would wear a mask. Maybe there were a few protests, but people, again, the benefit of a slightly more socialist society is in Australia, people always consider the whole.
Yeah.
Even if you totally disagree with that person, they always consider the culture, the society. Everybody is considered. You won't see, I think I've seen one homeless person in Adelaide one time. So even if people are kind of on the edge, maybe they're having some problems or something like that, the society will find a way to take care of them. So there's that. It does help that it is more of an island than North America. It is fewer people, but this is right next to China. There's every reason why they should have had more cases, but they acted quickly. They acted very decisively. and people really were very, very serious about following these rules. So
Yeah, I wish we had a better president that would have done that for us. I truly believe that if it was an immediate reaction, we wouldn't have gotten to where we were going. We all know that. It
why,
doesn't, you know.
why didn't we shut the country down? Why didn't the United States just say, okay, 2 weeks, we're all shutting down, nobody pays rent, nobody pays the banks, we're just going to give everybody a 2-week holiday, get your food, stay home. That would have solved so many problems.
But it didn't play into his end game. His end game was to get everybody out to be his army, and
Right.
a pandemic kept everybody home.
Exactly. Right.
So that didn't play into his game whatsoever.
Well,
So
he couldn't campaign then, right? If people were staying home, he couldn't do his campaign.
Yep.
It didn't fill the coffers of businesses. It was admitting the truth of science, which I think is really the issue right now.
Goodness gracious.
So,
All right, my dear. So we have some questions for you. Are you ready?
no, you do. Yes, I'm ready. All right.
Not all of them are political, which is nice. I see that.
New world.
I know it always ends up that way, huh? All right. So one of the first ones I have is, let's see. Hang on a minute. I had it all planned out and then I forget. Okay.
Okay, no, that's great. Just take me a moment to just clear.
Of course.
Right? Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does sending white light and love actually have an effect on others?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow, I love it. So, Spirit, what do you think about white light? Yes, it does. And I'm just going to ask for details. Can you tell us any more about this? When you do this, it's really helpful if you have just a very clear mind and a clear heart. So this is really hard to do in these days when you've got so much information bombarding you. Take a moment and just clear out, make it so that you're not really thinking about something so much. Obviously, that's next to impossible, but as much as possible, just take a moment and focus on, first of all, the light and the person. I also get that a glass of water, like you can also focus light on a glass of water for yourself. So you can just clear it out and focus love and light on the water and drink it. But you could also use that love and light, focus on the water, drink it, and then send it to others. I'll tell you, I draw in spirit before every video. I draw in spirit before every reading. I pull it in from out in the universe, and I bring it on down. And at the end of every video, after every video, I send the excess energy to someone who needs it. And it could be, kids at the border, Syrian refugees, my friend, anybody who I think needs it, I always send it back. And I think that keeps me in balance. So I wonder if there's anything more we might send about white light. Honestly, it's not just this process, it is your intention. And if you have the intention of sending love to someone, it will come through to various degrees. You won't see it necessarily. No one may know that you have sent it, but your intention is the most important.
Very, very good. Yeah, I honestly believe that it helps too. If you can feel somebody's anger towards you, you can feel somebody's love towards you, and love is always like add to the pool of healing. You know what I mean?
I totally believe that. And there have been times when I'm not really speaking to someone because there's some, maybe political argument in my own family, but I just take the time to, think of them. And even though I can't call them right now, to send the love to them. We can all do that.
Absolutely. All right. So we're heading to Broadway. The question says, will Broadway and the theaters across the U.S. be able to open in September? If not, when do you see them opening?
Okay. So something happens in August 4th. I get that date specifically. And on August 4th, something significant will change. So like lights are going on a dark street. You know how, and sometimes you watch in history, how they had those lamps that they had to go and light the lamps. It's almost like somebody's lighting a lamp like that on Broadway. But I get August, September. So let's go focus on. So will we have it in September? Yeah, I get by September we'll be chugging along, and really we'll be getting started. It might even be that a few things happen beforehand, almost like a sort of excitement will build maybe in August, or a sort of almost like pre-opening opening will happen in. And I'm wondering if this is everywhere. I think some people will. I think the August date is because some theaters will open even earlier, but some places, cities like New York, will wait until September. Yeah. So let's just make sure one more time. Sometimes I really like to ask 3 times. Can you tell me again, Spirit? When will they open in September? Yes, and not only they're open, it's just going to be like, boom, everybody is going to be going out to those theaters. It's going to create a real economic surge, and it's going to create a lot of joy, because people really are going to have this excitement that it's all over. And I mean, honestly, it's really going to help the administration politically. This is almost going to be almost like, think of the end of World War II. That's how excited people are going to be about theater.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So another one is FBI and Prince Andrew, his fate.
So FBI and who?
Prince Andrew.
Ooh, wow. Okay, a little darker. Yeah.
I know.
Let's see about the Prince. Andrew. So first of all, I can't help asking him as he shows up, did you do it? Did you do it? It's like I can't help asking him. The crown has fallen. That is like such a specific thing. It's like he's like almost like a jester with his crown on, and the crown falls. He did it, I think, and he is in trouble. He's in very serious trouble. Are they going to get him? Are they going to extradite him? Well, I kind of see that they're not going to extradite him, but the FBI is going to be able to interview him. They might have to go to Britain to do it. So they go to Britain, and then what happens? I kind of get a plea deal feeling. I kind of get that if he comes clean, if he tells the truth about some of these things, he'll be treated much more lightly. She's crying. He is feeling some shame, and well, he should, right? He's feeling very ashamed. It's such an example of people who live in such elite circles that they think they can get away with everything. And that is one realization that's been served upon him. And, again, he deserves it. But what about the FBI? Are they going to get Andrew? Are they going to get him? It's not entirely clear. Let's see one more time. Will the FBI? Yeah, okay, so they handcuff his wrist, but before they put on the second cuff, they're compelled to take it off for political reasons, right? So I hate to say it, but I think Andrew will not suffer the same consequences as other people in less powerful positions. But there is going to be a price, and one of them is maybe something will happen to him, like he'll be almost like demoted in the royal household, like he'll be sort of, some rights will be taken away from him. He will be possibly like taken out of the line of succession, or he'll just be kind of shut away, and we won't really hear as much about him anymore. It's that's the best they can do in terms of punishing him because he is such a powerful person attached to a powerful family. He will be shamed. There will be some consequences, but not the consequences that would face a common man. I'm wondering if he's even going to leave Britain. There might even be some kind of incarceration in Britain. It will be a slap on the wrist incarceration, like maybe for a short time. Maybe there will even be, because I am seeing a prison. I am seeing a pretty fancy prison. But
maybe he gets an ankle monitor.
That's right. I do see some of that. There is a consequence, but it's more like, community service. It's more like what rich people get. It might be, though, that he is incarcerated for a short amount of time.
Okay.
I don't know how, but yeah.
Okay. So here's one: is what do you see for Justin Trudeau future in Canadian politics?
So interesting now, Sheila, that we're all interested. Now we're finally interested in other countries again.
Right.
Let's see. Justin Trudeau. Well, he's looking pretty good here. I mean, when I see him, he's kind of twirling around. Okay, it's almost like he's doing the tango. He's got this girl, he's twirling her, he's doing a tango. So he's not looking bad at all. I don't know what politics, what his appeal right now is. I don't know his numbers, but he looks like he is not worried at all. At the very least, he seems very happy with the present relationship with the United States. And that's part of the tango. It really is for Canada often. It's very much of a dance with the United States. So
I think, I also get the same feeling that he's probably going to be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to UFOs now.
Okay, good. I'd say Justin's fine. Yeah, what about you?
Okay, so can you tell if the UFO encounters of Betty and Barney Hill, do you know about this case?
No.
Okay. They want to know if they're true. So if you don't know anything about it, do you want to still go into it, or?
Yeah. Well, maybe you could just summarize what happened.
I don't know. I don't know it either. It says that in 1961 and Travis Walton in 1975 were true, really aliens or time travelers or what? Thank you. And by the way, okay, so that's a thank you. So, do you know anything if you see anything about Betty and Barney Hill?
Betty and Barney, is it Hill?
Yeah, Hill.
Okay, because it doesn't matter if I know anything about it. I think that they can
Correct.
tell me. Did those people get visited? I've got a feeling that the answer is yes, but let's see. I'm seeing them land. It's really interesting because it's almost like our visions, some people can see them, some people can't. It's almost like there's this landing and there's this man and this woman, and she instantly sees it. And it's like the man sees it, and at first he can't believe it. He can't believe that this is really happening. He's like, I must be, maybe I accidentally took a mushroom. Like he can't believe it. And it's only because he turns to her and she's like, yes, this is real. And we have to tell people that he actually believes his own eyes. That's the feeling I get. They're also quite frightened. So it's not like, oh, cool, we saw an alien. They were afraid when they saw this. Let's see, can you tell me any more about this? Did they really meet them, see them? Is this real? Tell me more if it's real. Okay, if this is real, Spirit, show me the face of an alien. Yeah, okay. I'm seeing the face of an alien, and your guys going to think this is really funny. They're driving a VW. Okay, they're driving a VW, and I don't know why I'm seeing it like that. It's almost like these were the, more working class aliens or something. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I get maybe VWs are just very real, and that's why I'm seeing them there. Um, I even feel like maybe they went someplace with the aliens. I don't know the story, but one more time, is this real? Alien's face comes right up to me. Understand that there sometimes really is a question of perception that I don't want to say some people can see them, some people can't, because that would lead people to believe every fantasy. But there is an aspect of that. It's almost like those people were chosen because they were ready.
Right. So that was the another question that came through with the aliens is, can you please explain aliens?
Can I explain aliens? Okay. Let's see. What are aliens? There are many aliens who will not contact, who will totally avoid contact with the Earth. They do not want to interfere in our world. They've kind of done some things in the past to steer things in the right direction, but they don't want to mess with us because it would change the trajectory of human understanding. So we have to make our own mistakes. If they were to give greater technology to us, we would misuse it. They actually have given us some greater technology, and it has been misused. So they're out there. Occasionally, someone kind of sneaks through, and you get the feeling that they're kind of rogue aliens. Like there's this kind of confederation type deal where they're like, no one. It's like the Star Trek. I think it's called the Prime Directive. Do not mess with anybody. Don't change their history. But to tell you the truth, I think aliens influence us more through readers like you and I. I think that they are kind of trying to subtly do this through humans. And when they do that, they're not manipulating us. It's just that certain people can, through their own meditations, go out and sort of have a conversation with aliens and higher powers. We might even have to think about, well, how much difference is there between speaking to spirit and speaking to an alien? Is that really a different experience? I would say that they're all kind of one. I would also say that there are some people who are total Palladians who are on Earth. They are like, this is their first incarnation on the planet. And I mean, I know this because I talk to my clients, and sometimes I can really see that for them. They're like, I'm from, they don't tell me this. I see you're from the Palladian. This is your first lifetime on Earth. That's why you're having so much trouble. So I truly believe that the best way that they contact us is actually through humans. And I think that people may have no idea what other lifetimes they've had on planets. If you're a person who has difficulty adjusting to human life, it's well worth looking at and just considering if you might just be kind of a fish out of water and you're just getting used to the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So this one you're going to love too. This question you're going to like. It says, my question is, what are some techniques and practices to raise our vibrations and go to ground ourselves? It's like raise our vibration and grounding. It says love, light, and blessings. So that's the question. Right. I can read it again. It's like, my question is, where do we go for the techniques and practices to raise our vibrations and to ground ourselves?
Right. It's really funny because the minute before you even started the question, I got a big heart. I got a big red heart. And I was like, is that love from the aliens? Which I think is, one thing that's true. But also, I think that's the answer. And the answer really is love. And we might think of, what's love look like and what does that mean? Love is not just passively doing what another person says. It is sometimes saying no to a person. That might be the most loving thing you can do in a particular situation. One thing that really helps is that you try to judge judge the actions of people without so much judging that person. I mean, we don't, it's really hard to see that when you're talking about, Getz, who's, probably taken this, 17-year-old girl across state lines so he can, have sex with her while he's, being so moralistic. It's pretty hard to find the good in that person. But,
Whoa, you diverged.
Yeah, but remember that that person was once a child. They were once innocent. Some things happened to them, whether it was because they didn't have parents that said no to them, that's not their fault, or because they had some kind of trauma, or because, whatever, there may be a million reasons why they have become that. Some of them, may be good reasons, some of them may be not such good reasons. But the more we get ourselves in this structure of being so not anger, I don't have a problem with, and nor does spirit, but it can be destructive to you yourself. If you are going to be angry and do some actions, that's a good use of anger. If you're going to spend your day getting angry, looking at YouTube, and I know this was from personal experience, you're not going to be able to access light. So it really helps to meditate, because it'll get you. I sit down and meditate, and I'm like, gosh, I'm that former guy. How could he do this? And I'm like, stop doing that, Dave. And then I'll go back to that Gates. How could he get away from it? I'm like, clear that out, Dave. And, just give yourself a short amount of time where you're like, right now, I'm not going to go to judgment of anything. I'm just going to go to silence. That's one great way to do this. And I would say just, this is a time where we can't have as much community face-to-face time. That really, really helps. When this COVID is over, I hope you guys will go to every single event that stirs your heart in a spiritual way. Go there with an open mind, but also a critical mind, because not all these spiritual events are for you. Some of them are, but just go and learn and take whatever portion out of that is going to work for you. We will have community again. I believe by this summer, maybe the end of the summer, we will be able to go to the meetups. And I think at the end of this, we're really going to go in earnest. We're just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to meet people. I'm going to do this.
I'll be on a plane for weeks.
Okay, I will be flying around it. Okay, because we're going to visit each other.
Yep, exactly. So
yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of techniques. There's some really, really techniques you can do immediately. For one, I grab a root, a vegetable like a carrot, and then I go out in the sun. I mean, that can just literally ground me and raise my vibration immediately. So there's a lot of techniques you could do just like that, especially when we're listening to Gates.
Yes, exactly. You might be carrot. Yeah, you need at least a carrot. And I personally, I love nature. So I'll tell you, I was living in a city. I was living in San Francisco. I was completely broke. I was going to school. I had a couple of jobs. And finally, I'm like, oh my God, I have a week off. And I went to the youth hostel and I said, where can I go? That's really cheap. And I wound up going to a place called Point Reyes. And that is where I had my really intense, just being alone. And it's like, you're in the city, the tapes, the noise is constantly there. You have to be alone for a day and a half in nature for the tapes to finally stop. And that's all of a sudden you're like listening and listening and listening. And for me, that wound up being, I have no idea about this place I'm going to. I get to the top of the hill. It's all green and everything, except for the snow white deer that is looking at me like this. There's just a field of them. These deer have been taken from other places. But nature will really, really help. Water. People always love to look at the ocean and love to look at lakes. There's something very transformative about water. One other technique I'm being shown is just like take a little water and put it on your forehead. Something transformative and magic happens with water.
Right, and there was also one more technique that I would do really in a hurry. Is I remember when I would get so angry, I would go take a shower, because water represents emotion, and just getting that energy off of me, it really, really helped just to ground me, to get back into, you know, be stable. So there's a lot of techniques and practices you can do really fast. So, all right, so let's go on. Let's see what we have here. Will we see more influence of people of color and including indigenous groups in the entertainment industry?
Oh, great question. Let's see people of color. Let's start with people of color. Well, what's really great is I'm seeing this really beautiful Black lady. She's got like all of these colors going on, and she's got this dress that's just so many of them. The dress makes me think of the curtain behind you, Sheila. It's just like beautiful and twirling, and it's almost like in that conscious shape that your background has. She's telling me like she's ready to rock. She is ready to emerge. So graceful and so beautiful. And so I think, first of all, the answer is yes. I think that there's a great movement towards more representation of African Americans in more than just one industry. Let's look specifically at the movies. And I'm seeing a lot of things. You guys know I'm from Hollywood, and my family is in the movie business, so I'm seeing a lot of different movies. So let's see. Show me stuff. Yes, it'll keep going. Just think of the representation of African Americans in movies like Gone with the Wind. It's just so dated and kind of offensive, I would say, frankly offensive. Think of the trajectory of the movement from then until now. It's quite positive. Think of that exponentially moving forward. It will get better. And you know, here's the more interesting thing. It'll make a difference. When people are represented, it will make a difference. Let's see about Native American people. Now, I don't think that Native American people will be that much more representative in film. I should say represented in film. Their influence is a little bit more subtle. It's almost like the question about the aliens. Rather than show up, it's just more influencing us as a rule. So more people are becoming more interested in shamanism. I see more people going to Native Americans and listening and just saying, what's your way of life? I think the present environmental crises that we are facing, I mean, that we're going to take another look at the Native American ways. And I would also say that spiritually as a channel, I noticed more and more people being guided by Native American spirits. And that is literally like those Native Americans will show up. I have clients that they don't know that they have some percentage of Native American in them. That is just like, oh, when they would just realize it, like literally on the spot. That is a little bit more the way Native Americans are going to change things. I'll also tell you, one of my favorite movies is Little Big Man. I was always influenced so much by that. One thing to really look for, again, when COVID ends, is see, if you can go to a sweat lodge, or you can learn from Native American elders. They are out there, and they are very happy and willing to teach us. The important thing, of course, is that we must show respect.
Right. Yeah, definitely. If you want to know the culture, you'll have to definitely go talk to the culture. Let's kind of move on. They're going into now like weather and hurricanes and stuff like that. So one wants to know, do you see any hurricanes for Florida this year? And if so, how bad?
I'm already getting rain, lots of rain. I was just looking out the window because it sounds like rain. That's going to be really funny. The weather keeps changing, right? Like literally like outside my door. So good question. Let's see. I do see some something pretty heavy happening in very southern Florida, like southern tip of Florida. It looks like it looks like it hits more the east than the west, but it kind of hits the tip and maybe a little bit along the west coast. It doesn't look good. It does.
Do you get maybe a number, like how many of them?
Spirit. And do you want it like next year or this year?
Yeah, like hurricane season coming up.
This year's
whenever that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it starts maybe in the summer. Let's see. I was going to expect, okay, Spirit, I'm getting 5 or 6. Is this a category or is this a number? 6 hurricanes. I don't think they will hit only Florida. These hurricanes will hit Florida. Again, southeastern side. That's one of them. One of them will be more directed towards Texas. I have a feeling this one will be the worst. Southern, I should say southeastern Texas. There's a bunch of them. And it gives me the feeling also of the Florida one. There's one Florida one, but then there's another one that's not far off of Florida, like right in rapid succession. Tell me more about this. Will the hurricanes be worse? Well, it's a little bit unclear. Spirit does not want me to panic people. So sometimes they get gray because they're like, we don't want people, packing up and moving out of Florida next week. So I definitely don't want anybody doing that. But at the same time, I just get the message. Just be prepared. Be prepared to leave. Trust what your, I know it's crazy to say, trust your government. But there will be, they will be significant enough that they will cause harm to the states, the southern states. Here's another important thing is, this is a message, just like California wildfires are a message that we have to address Mother Earth. We have to understand that Mother Earth, that's last, okay? And if we do not take care of her, she will force us. It's like, when you have problems in your body, sometimes they're attached to something that's going on in your mind. This is the same thing. It's like the Earth is trying to tell us that we must protect her and become more active.
Yes, I agree. So now we're going to go into they're in Illinois and Chicago, or Illinois and Tennessee. There is, I forget the fault line. If I had it in my head, somebody in the chat will remind me of the fault line that's been it's like they've been feeling it. They want to know, how do you feel about that? Do you know what fault line I'm talking about?
I'm from California, so I know the San Andreas fault. But
yeah, we're gonna go to San Andreas, but this is the one that's in the middle, the new Madrid, the Madrid. It's the Madrid fault line. It's like from Illinois, Tennessee, kind of like in through there.
Slightly bigger, but I don't get that particular fault line is going to be devastating.
Okay.
Something's going on in the southern portion of what you're talking about. They are a little bit worse. And I would say, they'll continue to get worse as we, if we don't fail to address the Earth's issues. They will not be so devastating and so shocking. More like a slow pace of getting a little bit worse over time.
I said the same thing. I went into the energy too. It felt stable but slow, like it wasn't nothing. But I go over to the San Andreas. So let's switch over to the San Andreas and see what you feel.
Okay, let's check out San Andreas. I'm feeling like not very good about the place around Santa Cruz. And it might be, it might not be Santa Cruz itself, but there's like almost like a connection from San Francisco, Santa Cruz, and a little bit to the south. This looks extremely problematic. Yeah, tell me more about San Andreas. It also looks like there's a Southern Californian one, but I get San Diego. I don't know if the fault even runs through San Diego, but something worse in San Diego. I don't think there are earthquakes in San Diego, but it looks like it's a little bit south of Los Angeles, perhaps. Tell me more about the San Andreas Fault. What do people need to know about this? Well, do one thing that I didn't do, and that is always have water on hand. That will be the most important thing, is that you might be in a situation where there's an earthquake and you don't have water. You don't want to be stuck drinking water out of your toilet, okay? Just have a bunch of bottles in your closet someplace. Just, put some Coke bottles, just put in water, just keep them just in case. Again, I didn't do this, and I've been through many earthquakes. Let's see, tell me more. Yeah, right in the middle of the state seems to be the most important thing. And when I say the middle, it's like middle north a little bit. That would be north of Paso Robles, I think. Maybe north of that too. I get right south. I would say right around Santa Cruz. Now they're showing me a line. It looks like it does go through Santa Cruz, but maybe even a little bit, not as much in the city, but it almost like goes right nearby the city. Is the, to the west of the city appears to be the most devastating part. Stockton even. These seem to be centers where it's going to be difficult.
Okay, yeah. I actually got the same thing. I go from one fault to the other one. I was like, San Andreas, I go, oh, I don't feel comfortable there. I don't. It's so unstable.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. So I got the exact same thing. Fantastic. So a lot of people wanted to hear about the earthquakes. How about one here? It says we're going back to politics. Do you see the Florida Governor DeSantis? We call him DeSatan. DeSantis reelected.
Okay. Now you realize it's really hard to get my emotions out of this one, right? Even before you said this, I like, okay, move. Get out of here. Okay, Dave, get your feelings out of here. Because I do love that man. Okay. Ooh, you guys, it's the funniest image. He really does look like he's in hell with a fire burning underneath him, and he's got this trident. Understand that Satan sometimes looks like somebody who is just in denial. That is true evil when you deny the deaths of those around you and pretend they're not important. Just keep businesses open. Tell me more about him. Maybe going to stay there. He seems really angry and really upset, which is not good for him. Understand that it's not good for his physical well-being to get so angry all the time. And he seems like he's yelling and he's yelling and he's yelling. I would say that this is good for those in opposition to him. He wouldn't be getting so outraged if things were going his way. But I even feel more like people will start seeing him as the outraged guy. And I just get the feeling that, even look at things right now, people just had enough. They just had enough with the outrage. They are just kind of like, fine, go crazy if you want. I really don't care. That's your, just make sure that these bills get passed. I don't really care about your crazy, madness. Is he going to do well? I keep looking at now I'm seeing a ballot, and he's just like, I don't think DeSantis is going to do so well. I think some things are going to chip away at him in the next few years. Now I see him as a disappointed old man, right? So I hope that satisfies you guys.
Yeah, your sound is going in and out. I don't know if maybe you have to come a little closer to be.
Here, let's bring it in.
Yeah, let's bring it in a little.
How's that sound?
There we go. Much better. So we're going to go through a few, like a yes or no's. Like, okay, so Mitch McConnell, when, is he leaving or staying?
Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell will not live long. That's what I get out of this. I don't think that he's going to survive. And I'll tell you, just for my clients, I never predict death. Okay, I've told Spirit not to do that. But for a popular, famous figure who's not watching my show, I'm sure, I keep seeing a gravestone. I see 2 gravestones. I think that he is not long for this world, and I would be. There's like one gravestone in front of the other, and I'm not sure that he's too long for this world.
Okay.
And you know what? He died and forgotten. You know, it's like his whole legacy of who he was, Trump has already destroyed
it. Mm-hmm. All right, Lindsay, staying or leaving?
Lindsey Graham. Speaking of how long will he be there? Well, he looks like somebody who has really bad indigestion as I'm looking at him. What's going on with Lindsay? Dissipation. I think he's there for several more years. Like, we can't really get rid of him, politically at least. Then I see dissipation. Like, it's just getting less and less important, less powerful. So something will happen in 2 years. And I think in 2 years, it's just, I think that, what it looks like now is Dems will be pretty well in the Senate. So there goes a loss to his power. And then there's 4 years. And then 4 years is another loss to his power. I don't know how much longer he will last after that. And I think these guys get 6 years. So if you're in the Senate, I think you get 6 years. But 4 or 6? Do you know, Sheila, if it's 4 or 6?
I don't. Somebody remembers all that stuff.
Because I used to think it was 4, but I know that in the last election, some of these guys got 6. I think it actually is 6, but something will happen in 4 years. What's going to happen in 4 years, Lindsay? You want to show me?
They said it is 6.
It is 6. Okay. What's going to happen in 4 years? It almost looks like he gives up. It's not so much that he's going to be defeated before his term. He won't leave, but he will become so insignificant that he might as well be gone. And in 6 years, he'll just quit. He'll just walk.
Good. Okay, and so somebody wants to know, I don't know if you heard this or not, but is Ron Watkins the creator of Q?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he?
I think he is. You know what I get? Like, the first word I get is jerk. Like, what a jerk. And it's so silly. It's such an obvious con. It's so obvious that it's him. Is it you? Yeah, he had some help. I think it's like a father-son duo that's doing that. Yeah. He did it.
What is this Trump base? How do they feel about this guy being their Q?
That's interesting, because I was kind of like, the feeling that I had at the beginning of my answer was sort of like, come on, it's like this, it's like that obnoxious kid in the class. Everybody knows is obnoxious. Everybody knows, like, nobody would ever give him a job. It's just, he's just amusing the class as a distraction from the teacher, right? So we all know that, we wouldn't want him over for a birthday party. But during class, when we don't want to pay attention to the teacher, he's that smart aleck. So can you tell me more about this American people? Why do they believe this stuff? Well, this is the bottom line. The internet's confusing. There's so much information there. You don't know which channel to tune into. And there's so much information that these people pretty much have decided, I'm just going to pick and choose what I want to believe, as opposed to what's true. So if it's convenient for me to believe that, apples are made of cheese, I'm just choosing myself to believe that. So it's kind of like interesting that choosing one's own reality is something that a lot of spiritual people would suggest. You can create your own reality. These people are just that sort of negative aspect of it, where it's sort of like choose denial over reason, because there's nothing stopping you from doing that. I mean, why shouldn't I just believe these crazy theories? So, and I think there's fear behind that. There's a great deal of fear. Think of how difficult it is to like set this up. The technology. I don't know about you, but I start like getting so upset and like wanting to throw the computer out the window sometimes when I can't figure out tech, because all these people under 40 just think in a different way. They just work in a different way, and they're able to do this somehow seamlessly, whereas everybody else is like, ah. So it's normal, first of all, to feel that, because you really do think in a different way. If you were not raised with this computer, you don't know where the buttons are or how to do all those things. So understand that's a natural feeling for a lot of people. If we all calm ourselves down and just go, okay, this is frustrating, but what can I get out of it? How can I learn this? I have to think a little bit in a new way. We have entry into the modern world. If instead we're furious and we're pounding the table and we're like, forget it, I'm only going to watch, this particular news channel, to heck with the internet. That's what's driving these people. It's just a real fear of a society that has changed and kind of let them out. I mean, if you think of the past, we just walked up to the TV and we turn it on, and it all just comes out, and there aren't that many options. It's simple. But today, everybody has have to, even just to turn your computer on, you need help. Even the day you buy your computer, installing all that software. I mean, you need a 20-year-old to help you, or you won't be able to do it. And
right, exactly.
It's like it's almost a financial divide too, because the people who can use technology and figure out will have much better financial future than those who don't. And I don't care how old you are. If you're 82, it makes no difference. You don't need to learn everything. You just need to learn the things that will help you and that will become useful to you. You can do it in a very slow pace and manner. You don't need to know everything. Sheila and I don't know everything. I don't know much. I know how to online with Sheila because she sends me very clear directions so I can do it. That's all you need. So when you find yourself bumping up against the technology, understand, just give yourself a lot of patience.
Are you thinking that the QAnon the people, the Trump's base is just based on lack of knowledge of technology is the reason why they found this guy?
Even more fear. It's just a fear. It's like I can't figure out what's true or not anymore. I don't have the ability to decide everything for myself. I used to be able to turn the news on and the anchor on the news station would tell me what the truth is. Now, as we all know, that was not necessarily
I see what you're trying to say. They're getting hit by every aspect of this, and the overload has taken them to just grab onto anything.
It can't all be true, right? I mean, all of the things are totally contradictory. It can't all be true. So what's your ability to see that? So I think it's a lot of it is fear, but also resentment. That a society is being changed. It's changing so quickly that for some people, they feel like they can't keep up. And I want to tell you, just in terms of the division, again, in the digital divide, you don't have to keep up with everything.
Right.
Just be very patient with yourself, and just like YouTube, take it in as it comes.
Okay, so we're almost at an hour, so I was trying to let's get some more in.
You can go. I have more time. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I have one here. Will Bill Barr be brought to justice?
Wow. Okay. Again, I have a lot of feelings about this. Push them out of the way. What about Bill? Oh, Bill's crying. Okay, Bill is there and he is in tears. Wow, this is pretty clear. He is in front of a courtroom. And the judge is disgusted. The judge is so mad. He is just so angry. He has no sympathy for Bill Barr. Oh, you know what? And it has something to do with the Epstein cases, because there's a young woman in a witness stand, many young women in the witness stand. And you notice, that whole investigation literally stopped under Bill Barr. We have not heard a word about it since he became the Attorney General. No one was arrested. And of course, Epstein took his life. So this judge is ooh, gross. And Epstein's there kind of smiling in the background like, haha, you got yours. I don't like to see Epstein at all. He is one of the darkest people I've ever encountered. Get out of here. You're dismissed. Get out of here. I do think it has as much to do with Epstein and just the cultures being disgusted at him for letting those people get away. There are a lot of people who did really terrible things with Epstein, and he's basically let them go. He is covered for them. So he knows it. He knows he's in trouble. But there's like a lifetime of litigation ahead of him.
Okay. So you got to answer this simple question. Where has Dave been?
Oh, now just before this, I did a video just this morning to answer the "Where's Dave been" question. I'll tell you guys, I've been working on something called QHHT training. I'm actually did start this training, and this is the Dolores Cannon work. Have you ever seen Dolores Cannon? Oh, she does great work if you guys get the chance. Also, Alba Weinman does hypnosis, and she puts people in hypnosis, and they go through their past lives, and they work out physical problems in their bodies. She does things like clear attachment. But I was initially, when I first started this work, before I even started channeling, I was starting to look at Dolores Cannon's videos, and she also wrote a number of books. So I've started this training, people like Sheila and I have been talking about this, and that, now that Trump's gone, I should say, the former guy, now that the former guy is no longer here, we're all a little bit less stressed. It's like, I would find myself making 3 videos a week because like emergency, emergency, emergency. And now that the stress is gone, I find myself shifting and going, well, politics is always going to be messed up. How could I help people long term? And we don't, you and I know, we were never here to be alarmists. We were never here to upset people. We were always here to tell people, look, it's going to be okay. There will face justice. The universe is looking after us, but we will prevail here. So I would encourage everyone to do more work in evolution and self-evolution. Watching too much politics, I think just gets us in a state of despair. This doesn't mean we forget them altogether. I also did a video on yet another shooting of a black man in Missouri. I mean, like 10 feet away from the trial for, that provide.
Yeah, we at my work, we do the masks, right? The American flag up and down, and it's been down for almost 2 months, more than it's been flying high, because of the shootings and the deaths, and it's just been awful. I can't some days. All right, so let's see. Let's move to another. I had another question here. Hang on a second. I kind of passed it up. I thought, yeah, they want to know about Gates. Have we done Gates already?
Oh yeah, I just mentioned him. That little creep. He's such a creep. Again, get your opinion out here, Dave. Okay, what about him? Oh, he is in so much trouble. He is in so much trouble. He is going to go to jail for a really long time, and he is not going to do well in jail. Prison is not the best place for a guy like Gates. That sarcastic little smile, that arrogant, sarcastic little smile he has all the time. He just reminds me of those, guys in high school those type of people.
Well, yeah, you're the only one that I've heard so far get him to jail, so that's fantastic. Because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just here because we have too much energy here about what he can get away with. But if you
Yeah,
see him going,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Tell me more. A ruined man, and I get like 7 to 9 years, which is less than he should serve. I mean, these are serious crimes, but a ruined man. So understand that also, for the average person, just losing your job wouldn't be the end of the world. But for somebody like him, it is the end of the world. He's a nobody. Nobody's going to get within 100 miles of giving him a job of any kind. He will be poor. He'll be unknown. He will, people will spit at his feet on the street. And well, they should. What a disgusting human.
If I ever got close to him, I'd slap him.
I swear to God,
I don't advocate violence, but I tell you what,
I mean, an insult or ordering him out of your dinner party, I would
correct.
do that. I wouldn't let him.
Bye.
And I think there's plenty of people who are not inviting him to their dinner parties because they're afraid somebody will show up and create a riot because they would be so angry at him. So he will be ruined. Again, I see an old man, and I do see jail. I also don't think that this will be very good for his heart. So I think that I see an early death. Poverty. Yeah. So not a good life for him.
Yeah, I saw him sick too. Here's another one here. It says, is there only one source, energy, spirit, or are there multiple spirits in the different universes throughout the galaxy?
Wow. Great question. These are the kind of questions that I ask sometimes. And I have to keep in mind, this is going to be really hard for spirit to explain to us because our heads would explode if we could understand it, all of it. But spirit, can you give me like a metaphor for it? So look, there are many sources at the base, but they all go. It's almost like imagine all these lines, but they go through one spot. So you can think of these lines going through this one center core, and actually it's almost like a prism. They go through and then they prism out to be these beautiful colors. But I think there are, for example, we might say that there are many religions. All of them have something good about them, something value about them. There are many practices even, but they all go through one source. It's like a beautiful golden circle. I almost like to say, there's like a circle behind your head, Sheila, and it looks like that, right? Like everything's going into that place. So I would say, yes, there is one source, but it's like a prism. It's shaded in many colors.
I've always said that too. I say, if you can just imagine a ball source that has dropped like 1,000 strings down to the earth, and each person grabs a string. And that string is how they see it. They can name that string. They can say what it is. They can do whatever they want with that string. But that string is the same as everybody else's string that heads to that source. That's why I always said that it is how you understand it.
You and I are source. Every one of our viewers are source. All of us
Correct.
are aspects of source.
Absolutely.
Which is
absolutely.
No matter how angry we get at one another, we have to understand that we all are all one, even if we're in opposition in this lifetime. We do all go back to the same source, and people like Gates are just going to have to come back to the earth and have a few tough lessons. He's going to be very ashamed when he meets his maker, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, they're gonna look at him and go, again? Yeah. You sucked at that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're gonna have to choose some pretty tough lifetimes from here on in to make up that one.
Right. Yep. I always say this too. When you rise, we all rise. That's why I'm always about anybody that's doing wonderful in life and all of that. You rise, we all rise.
Absolutely.
We all rise together.
That's
and
true.
always create an atmosphere to uplift the people that are around you that you know. Let's see. I think we pretty much, I mean, people want to know about COVID, but I don't want to know if we want to get into like COVID. Do you want to get into COVID? Like anything about
Sure.
like the vaccines or anything like that? I don't know. It's up to you.
Sure. Any question you want to ask, go ahead.
All right. Let's see what we have back here. We have, sorry for the noise on the, I know my microphone is right there when I'm switching this. It says, are vaccines used in the US for COVID truly effective? Will we need boosters, and if so, when and after how long? What happened to him? Isn't that interesting? He freezes on a COVID question. Dave, if you can hear me, you're frozen. Oh, he gone. He'll be back. Oh my gosh, this is my channel. Constantly somebody does this. Hi guys. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll come back in. Something happened. He gone. Thank you for everybody who's joined us. I think this has been great. I love it when David gets excited about a question that you've asked him. Yeah. How am I doing? I'm kind of tired. I'm doing okay. How is everybody else doing? He'll be back. He'll realize that he's gone. He'll get back into the thing and he'll come back. I hope. Yeah, Dave's on every month. Next month he'll be here. I think it's May 19th. I have him scheduled again for May 19th. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, please go do that. There he is. Yeah, we're still on. We can.
Sorry, the power went out of my house.
It was funny. I was like, oh, he's gone right on the COVID question. He gone.
Good. Well,
there you go. Are you plugging it in?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, that's much better.
Can you hear me okay, Sheila?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right.
Dave, put your things in. Put your things in. I can't hear you. Put your things in. I can't hear you. Oh, it's too funny. Dave's back. Thank you, Devin. Thank you for all the chats. Can you guys hear me? Earbuds. There we go. Yeah. Plug it in. Plug them in. Can you hear me, Dave? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Take out. I can hear you. I heard you at first. No sound at all? Even me? Sound goes in and out and freezes. Oh, Dave, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're on mute. Hang on. Let me see. Dave. Oh. I know. I tried to get him that he was muted. He gone. He'll be back. It's a. I tried to get him to understand he was muted. Ah, that is too funny. Okay, let's see.
I can hear you now.
Dave,
Can you hear me?
yeah. I saw on your thing that you were muted. I was trying to get to like you were.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I just muted it for a moment. But are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, sure. Well, these things happen. Speaking about irritating technology, there you go. It's
Yes.
a good example. All right, so let's get to COVID. All right.
Okay. Did you want the question again?
Sure, that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Are vaccines used in the U.S. for COVID truly effective? Will we need boosters, and if so, when?
Okay. Well, I just got a Johnson & Johnson message, which is kind of funny since my name's Dave Johnson. Let's see. What about Johnson & Johnson? They're thinking it over. Biden is really thinking this one over. They're not so sure that this is going to be a good idea, this Johnson & Johnson stuff. Looking very serious. Biden's looking very serious. So are like Birx and Fauci and all these other people. They're looking really like, what do we do? What do we do? But things are changing. They're smiling. They're like they're like, okay. They look like they're reassured. And I think this is very interesting and symbolic, and that Johnson & Johnson is something that they are like taking very seriously, even some fairly small events which look like there's a problem. They're being very, very detailed in their approach, and I think that's really appropriate. That they're just very careful about looking at these things. So take a look. Tell me more, Spirit, about. It looks like it's getting better and better. They look more and more confident. Spirit, will we need boosters? I see 2 syringes, and it gives me the feeling of we will actually have 2 boosters. They may not, they might even be different boosters in different places, or just everybody will have to take a couple. And this has a bit of a feeling of, just to be certain, there will not be huge lives at risk, but some lives will be at risk. And is there a variant? Is it because of the variants? Variants. Is it because of variants? Yeah, and it's almost like there's a variant, but almost like a shadow of the variant. I don't think the variant will get so far. I think it's a great thing we got rid of the former guy, because they would not be so on top of it as they are right now with him in power. They are really getting very clear about, they're being very, very careful about this. Again, I see at least 2 boosters, maybe 3. And there was another part of your question.
The other part, you kind of answered it, where they be effective. So actually you answered that, they'll be effective.
Okay.
Here's another question. What about those who are determined not to get the vaccine? This has been the conversation over here, is that if you get the vaccine, COVID's not going away.
Yes, that's true.
So the more people who are getting vaccinated narrows that hallway.
Yes, that's true. So what about those? And are you wondering if those people will catch it, or there'll be some consequences?
Yeah, is it like everybody else that is getting vaccinated, which is effective to us? What is going to happen to those ones that are not?
Good question. Well, bottom line, some of them will die. It really will kill some of them. And although it will not necessarily be many of them, some of them will also go to the hospital. And there will be people in proximity to those people who don't take the vaccine who will also be harmed. So there'll be more, their loved one will die. So they will be, I see a woman and she's sitting in a bar, and it's like straight up middle America, Naugahyde bar. And she's sitting in a bar and she's alone. And she's very sad. And she's, smoking a cigarette, doing a very unhealthy thing at this bar. And it's interesting because it's like, you're not supposed to smoke in a bar, but she's doing it anyway. She doesn't care about her health. She doesn't care about the healths of others, but she's there with the cigarette, and it's heartbreaking. That's all she's got left, is that cigarette. And the person who she loved is gone. So, there will be consequences, even if it's not death. It's the presence of death. It affects others. It's knowing also that you did something wrong. This woman knows she's done something very unhealthy, and in some ways is responsible for the deaths of others.
Because of the refusing to take the vaccine?
Yeah.
There's a whole controversy here with their pro-choice. There's a lot of like, if you don't want it, you don't have it. You like this and all that. But I was just kind of wondering, I was like, I don't care if you take it or not either. It's not my personal thing. I'm going to take it. I'm going to be safe. However, what is the reality of the I'm not taking it? That whole thing is I think that the vaccine is going to narrow into a small hallway. It's not going away.
Yeah, it's not going away.
Just because we get a vaccine does not mean that this thing is going away.
Yeah, and it's just a child's reaction. Nobody wants to be told what to do. I don't want it to be. I want it to be 1955, and I just want it, and it doesn't matter. It's like a child when you say you can't have any candy. They might throw themselves on the floor and throw a temper tantrum. That's essentially what these people are doing. And again, it's kind of heartbreaking, but this is the chance where people reveal really who they are. And, I know people in some foreign countries who are much more frightened of the vaccine because they do live in totalitarian countries and they don't really trust their government. And their government has used this as an excuse to take advantage. So,
Sure.
It's a varied thing, but in the United States of America, it's not. It's a pretty clear cut. Think of those things. I get 20% of people refusing to take it, and they continue to live in fear. They continue to live in denial. They have less access to life. Less people are going to invite them over for a party, because even if you get that vaccine, there's a possibility, there's a small percentage that it won't take for some people. So even if you've had the vaccine, maybe, a small percentage, 3-5% of people will not be as protected as they think they are. Maybe they're still protected, but maybe they will get a lighter case or something. But you and I aren't going to really want to hang around those people.
Well, I mean, if I'm vaccinated, I probably wouldn't. I won't have so much of a concern.
Right.
But the thing is I wonder if it's just going to slow down the recovery
It is.
of the country. That's all I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Is it going to slow down the recovery?
Uh-huh.
For now, and there are some people who just cannot get it. I get it. I'm not talking about those. It's just, consult your doctor. If the
Right.
doctor says it's okay or not, whatever, but definitely
Mhm.
consult your doctor.
Mhm.
Says, how's Trump's mental health? Does he have dementia, Alzheimer's?
What drives Trump is anger, this constant anger. And I used to get pretty angry myself, and I saw a therapist, and they're like, not only is this really bad for your relationship, it's bad for you, Dave. You think you're like throwing a brick against the wall is really making you feel better. All it's doing is creating a direct channel to anger. It's like children when they're really get angry and their parents, don't find a way to help them regulate or understand their anger. They just go there directly. And that's Donald Trump. He was raised this way. He was raised to be a mean little boy. He was raised to be a bully. And he thinks, oh, well, look how much fun it is. I'm getting all this attention. But it's killing him. On the inside, it's killing him. There's a photograph of him and they look at him like kind of without makeup. And there's like this weird sort of mark on his face.
Yeah, what is that? Like
It's
sunken in.
It's like the evil's coming out. It's sort of like that. Like you can see it when you look at him. His heart is working overtime every time he throws a screaming temper tantrum. His heart is pumping, pumping, pumping. His stomach is churning. He is in bad physical shape. And it's actually the best thing that could have happened to him was that he's no longer president. That is the best thing that could have happened for his health, because he doesn't have the opportunity to scream and rant on TV so much. So I don't think he's long for this world.
Yeah, I get that too. But that could be, half and half for me. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
All right, so we have one more. We really went through almost every single one of these. This is really good. Is Matt Gaetz connected to Epstein?
Matt Gaetz connected to Epstein. Well, I get the words Brotherhood of Abusers. Okay, so
wow.
It's almost like they like kind of secretly admire each other. I don't know if they actually physically like even knew each other very well. I'm not sure if they did. I think that it's really one of negligence. Matt Gaetz has no morals. Epstein had no morals, and it's really a question of knowing the guy down the street is doing something terrible, and you don't say anything, you don't stop him. So it's a little bit more like that. Do they actually know each other? Do they work together or something? No, it's not. It's more just a disgusting sort of selfish, arrogant. It's like this. They're the same type of person. They really don't care about others. They're totally centered in ego. On the bright side, I would ask everybody to think about how those people are being exposed. They are being defeated. They are taking down not just themselves, but the politicians around them. As Matt Gaetz is on TV, he's on YouTube, he's current, which means that they've got to, Republicans have to like spend a lot of time trying to find something bad to say about Biden. Biden, fell down the stairs that day. Who cares, compared to these kinds of stories, these real unethical stories. So,
oh yeah, they're trying everything they can. They're even fabricating as usual.
Yeah. What's new?
Yeah. All right, my dear. So let's leave this on a high vibe.
Okay.
So we're going to ask the last question here. The high vibe question says, how do we properly ask our guides and angels for help?
Ooh, wonderful question. How can we
Yeah.
ask that? Well,
How do we properly ask them?
properly ask them. Well, I would say it's very important to kind of put yourself, especially in the beginning when you're really making the connection, put yourself in a space that's very comfortable, where you're not going to be interrupted, where you want to create, even if you could create some corner in your house, a sort of space where you do this kind of work. Silence, bring in things that are helpful to you. So if it's incense, great. If it's a particular stone, it's great. If it's a photo of your grandmother, great. Now, whatever, create that space for yourself. And do your best to clear out all the mental tapes that are going on all the time. I always meditate before I do this work, at least 20 minutes. And that will be helpful. You don't have to follow any particular meditation. But in the way you're doing that, it's almost like you're clearing out the noise so spirit can hear you. And when you're doing this, it seems like, as I'm looking at this now, it's not even like an asking, it's almost like an opening. And you're just saying, okay, spirit, I'm ready to hear. That's a pretty safe way to do things. But the next step, of course, is when you're in that space, go ahead and say your question. How can I get a new job? Say the question. Should I go study chemistry? Whatever question you have. First, you create the space where you can be heard. Then you ask the question. And then just look around during the day, see if somebody walks up and shakes your hand and said, chemistry's the job for you. Because if you really listen, your guides will give you answers to your questions. It's just a question of you really listening, really noticing. For me, sometimes spirit just will hit me over the head with information. Honestly, the most important thing is sincerity. If you truly wish to contact your guides, they are there. If you truly wish to hear your guides, they're there. Just create some kind of space where you can hear them, where the radio isn't playing and somebody isn't talking. Don't do this while driving for the most part, unless it's an emergency. And I always tell people, in an emergency, ask spirit. If this is an emergency, ask them what I should do. And they'll send help. They'll give you a message.
Absolutely. I've always said that, your guides and your angels they're just like gentlemen. They're not going to go where they are not asked, so ask. Just go in and ask, because they're not going to intrude into your life unless, you invite them in. So I always say that. Start with an invite.
Yeah.
So.
And sincerity. Truly sincerity.
And sincerity was beautiful. Yes, a sincere invite.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. All right, Dave. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Actually, with your little earbuds and all that was perfect.
Was it better?
With that. Yeah, you should stick with that
thing?
process.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just remind me next time around, although I probably won't forget.
Yep. All right, everyone. Have a great evening, and hit the like button on the way out. And I hope to see you next month. So
looking forward to that. Take care.
Thanks.
Love to y'all.
Yep. Smile.